Money does not move in response to how tired you are, how long you work, or how sincere your intentions may be. It moves in response to value. Value is the measurable result of usefulness, relevance, and impact. The marketplace is neutral and emotionless. It simply rewards what solves problems effectively. Effort without value feels exhausting because it produces motion without progress, while value without strain can create exponential results. Many people confuse activity with productivity, believing that more hours automatically lead to more income. In reality, income rises when outcomes improve, not when schedules become fuller. A person can work endlessly on the wrong thing and still struggle financially, while another can focus on a single valuable skill and earn disproportionately more. The difference lies not in effort, but in the strategic alignment of effort with value creation. Value is determined by how rare and in demand a skill or solution is. The more people can do what you do, the less you are paid for it. When you develop skills that are difficult to replace and directly tied to results, the market assigns higher compensation. This is why specialization outperforms generalization in wealth creation. Depth commands more than breadth. The marketplace pays for transformation, not participation. It does not reward how much you try, but how much change you produce. If your work saves time, increases revenue, reduces pain, or creates clarity, it carries measurable value. The larger and more urgent the problem you solve, the greater the financial return attached to it. Effort is internal, but value is external. You may feel exhausted, but the market only sees outcomes. This is why emotional attachment to hard work can become a trap. When people believe effort alone should be rewarded, they stop improving their skill set and start resenting the results. Growth begins when effort is redirected toward increasing usefulness. Value compounds when it can be delivered repeatedly without requiring equal energy each time. Systems, processes, and scalable platforms allow value to reach more people simultaneously. This is why ownership and leverage accelerate income faster than labor alone. When value can be multiplied without multiplying effort, wealth begins to expand. The most valuable individuals think in terms of results before actions. They ask what outcome the market desires and then build a pathway to deliver it efficiently. This approach eliminates wasted motion and focuses energy on what truly matters. Precision becomes more powerful than intensity. Value is also closely connected to clarity. When you clearly understand who you serve and what problem you solve, your work becomes sharper and more effective. Confusion dilutes value while clarity amplifies it. The clearer your solution, the easier it is for the market to recognize and reward it. As value increases, effort often decreases, not because discipline fades, but because mastery simplifies execution. What once required strain becomes natural through repetition and refinement. The market responds favorably to mastery because it delivers consistent, reliable outcomes. When effort is subordinated to value, work becomes intentional rather than exhausting. Energy is spent on improvement, not on proving worth through struggle. Income grows as usefulness expands, and progress becomes a byproduct of alignment rather than force. Income is rarely a reflection of potential, and almost always a reflection of identity. People earn in alignment with who they believe they are, not who they occasionally try to become. When self-perception is limited, behavior follows that limitation automatically. The mind acts as a thermostat, adjusting results to match internal expectations, pulling income back to what feels familiar and safe. Identity shapes decisions long before money shows up in a bank account. The choices you make daily, how you spend time, what you tolerate, what you pursue, are guided by your self-image. If you see yourself as someone who survives, you will choose safety over growth. If you see yourself as someone who creates, you will choose opportunity over comfort. Money is not just an economic tool, it is an identity mirror. It reflects confidence, self-worth, and belief in personal value. When people feel unworthy of wealth, they subconsciously sabotage progress through procrastination, inconsistency, or fear of visibility. Income does not break these inner limits, it exposes them. Every financial ceiling begins as a mental ceiling. Skills can be learned and strategies can be copied, but identity must be rebuilt from the inside. Without an internal upgrade, external success feels temporary and unstable. This is why sudden income often disappears just as quickly as it arrives when identity has not evolved to sustain it. Identity determines standards. Standards determine behavior. Behavior determines results. When standards are low, effort becomes inconsistent and growth feels optional. When standards rise, discipline becomes natural. People do not rise to the level of their goals. They fall to the level of their self-concept. The marketplace rewards confidence expressed through competence. When someone believes in their value, they communicate clearly, price boldly, and act decisively. Hesitation signals uncertainty, and uncertainty reduces perceived value. Identity silently influences how others respond to you long before numbers are discussed. Upgrading identity requires intentional exposure to new environments and new thinking. Staying loyal to old narratives keeps income stuck in old patterns. Growth demands discomfort because a new identity cannot be built inside familiar limitations. Expansion begins when self-image stretches beyond past results. Language plays a powerful role in identity formation. The way you speak about money, work, and opportunity reinforces who you believe you are. Words shape expectations, and expectations shape outcomes. Changing language is often the first visible sign of internal transformation. As identity evolves, actions become aligned rather than forced. Discipline stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like integrity. Effort increases in quality rather than quantity. Income rises not through strain, but through congruence between belief, behavior, and value. When identity leads, income follows naturally. Wealth becomes a reflection of alignment instead of ambition. Financial growth stabilizes because it matches internal permission rather than external pressure. The person you become quietly sets the limits of what you earn. Labor relies on time, and time is the one resource that cannot be multiplied. No matter how disciplined or driven someone may be, there are only so many hours in a day. When income is directly tied to time spent, growth eventually slows and plateaus. Leverage, on the other hand, allows results to increase without requiring a proportional increase in effort. In 2025, technology has reshaped how value is created and distributed. Digital platforms, automation, and global connectivity make it possible to reach thousands or even millions of people simultaneously. This environment rewards those who understand how to build once and distribute many times. The ability to scale has become more valuable than the willingness to grind. Leverage begins with systems. A system is a structure that produces consistent results without constant supervision. When systems replace manual effort, energy can be redirected towards strategy and improvement instead of repetition. This shift transforms work from exhaustion into expansion. Ownership is a powerful form of leverage. When you own a product, a process, or intellectual property, you are no longer paid only for what you do, but for what you control. Ownership allows income to continue even when you are not actively present. This distinction separates earners from builders. Leverage also appears in skills that amplify output. Communication, leadership, marketing, and strategic thinking can influence outcomes far beyond individual effort. One well-crafted message can outperform months of physical labor. Skills that move people and resources create disproportionate returns. Capital and collaboration further multiply leverage. Money, when deployed wisely, works faster than human effort. Teams allow strengths to combine, producing results that no individual could achieve alone. When people's systems and resources align, growth accelerates naturally. In leveraged environments, focus becomes more important than force. Choosing the right opportunity matters more than working harder at the wrong one. Precision replaces intensity, and strategy outperforms stamina. The ability to say no becomes as valuable as the ability to act. Those who rely solely on labor often experience burnout because effort scales linearly while expectations rise exponentially. Leverage protects energy by allowing progress without depletion. It creates sustainability in a world that demands constant adaptation. Leverage also reduces risk by spreading effort across multiple channels. Instead of depending on a single stream of income, leverage models allow value to flow from many directions. This flexibility creates resilience and long-term stability. When leverage replaces labor as the primary growth driver, income becomes a reflection of design rather than endurance. Work shifts from survival to creation. Progress accelerates as effort is multiplied through systems, skills, and strategic ownership. Focus is the ability to direct energy toward a single objective without distraction, and in a world saturated with noise, it has become a rare advantage. When attention is scattered, progress fragments and results slow down. Momentum begins when the mind stops chasing multiple directions and commits fully to one clear path. Concentrated effort creates depth, and depth produces results that scattered effort never can. Mastery is not achieved through intensity alone, but through sustained attention over time. Repetition builds familiarity, and familiarity builds confidence. Each deliberate action strengthens competence, making future actions more efficient. As skill deepens, resistance decreases, allowing progress to flow more smoothly. When focus and mastery align, learning accelerates. Instead of constantly starting over, energy compounds. Small improvements stack on top of each other, creating exponential growth. What once felt difficult becomes manageable, and what felt impossible becomes routine. Distraction creates friction that drains momentum before it can form. Constant switching resets progress and forces the mind to re-engage repeatedly. Focus eliminates this friction by maintaining continuity. Continuous engagement allows ideas, skills, and strategies to mature naturally. Mastery simplifies decision-making. With experience comes clarity, and with clarity comes speed. When you understand a domain deeply, you recognize patterns quickly and avoid unnecessary mistakes. This efficiency conserves energy and increases confidence, further strengthening momentum. Focused individuals develop a stronger sense of direction. They are less reactive and more intentional in their actions. Instead of responding to every opportunity, they choose opportunities that align with their long-term objectives. This selectivity keeps progress aligned and purposeful. Momentum thrives on visible progress. Mastery makes improvement measurable and reinforcing. Each success builds belief, and belief fuels consistency. Consistency, in turn, transforms effort into rhythm rather than struggle. Focus also creates emotional stability. When attention is fixed on growth rather than comparison, anxiety decreases. Progress becomes personal rather than performative. This internal alignment allows sustained engagement without burnout. Mastery builds trust with the market and with oneself. Consistent quality signals reliability, and reliability attracts opportunities. As confidence grows, action becomes more decisive and less hesitant, accelerating forward motion. When focus is protected and mastery is pursued, momentum becomes inevitable. Progress feeds itself as skill, confidence, and clarity reinforce one another. Forward movement strengthens with each deliberate step taken in the same direction. Motivation is emotional and unpredictable, rising and falling based on mood, circumstances, and external influence. Discipline, by contrast, operates independently of feeling. It functions through commitment, structure, and decision rather than inspiration. When motivation fades, discipline continues, making it a far more reliable driver of progress. Relying on motivation creates inconsistency because emotions are not designed to sustain long-term effort. What feels exciting at the beginning often feels demanding in the middle. Discipline bridges this gap by removing the need to negotiate with feelings. Action becomes automatic rather than optional. Discipline transforms intention into behavior. Many people know what they should do, but discipline ensures it gets done regardless of comfort or convenience. This consistency compounds over time, producing results that sporadic bursts of motivation cannot match. Structure is a key component of discipline. Routines eliminate decision fatigue and reduce resistance. When actions are scheduled and standardized, they require less mental energy. This allows focus to remain on execution rather than deliberation. Discipline also builds trust with oneself. Each kept commitment strengthens self-respect and confidence. Over time, this trust becomes a powerful internal motivator, reducing the need for external encouragement. Reliability replaces excitement as the engine of progress. Motivation often depends on external validation or immediate results. Discipline remains effective even when outcomes are delayed. This patience allows long-term goals to be pursued without frustration. Progress continues quietly beneath the surface until results become visible. Through discipline, effort becomes refined rather than forceful. Actions are measured, intentional, and aligned with objectives. This efficiency prevents burnout and preserves energy for what truly matters. Quality begins to outperform quantity. Discipline creates momentum by establishing a rhythm of action. Once momentum is formed, action feels easier and resistance decreases. What once required effort becomes part of routine, reinforcing consistency. When challenges arise, motivation may hesitate, but discipline adapts. It adjusts strategy without abandoning direction. This resilience allows growth to continue even under pressure or uncertainty. As discipline replaces dependence on motivation, progress becomes stable and predictable. Results accumulate steadily, driven by structure rather than emotion. Success emerges as a product of commitment practiced daily without negotiation. Every outcome begins as a decision long before it appears as a result. Life does not shift through intention alone, but through choices acted upon consistently. Destiny is not a sudden event. It is the accumulation of decisions made daily, often in quiet moments where no one is watching. What you choose repeatedly becomes the direction your life follows. Decisions determine the paths you walk and the opportunities you encounter. Each choice opens certain doors while closing others. Even indecision is a decision, one that defaults control to circumstances instead of intention. Direction is always being set, whether consciously or unconsciously. Small decisions often feel insignificant, but they compound over time. Choosing to learn instead of delay, to act instead of hesitate, to improve instead of remain comfortable gradually reshapes outcomes. These choices build momentum that eventually becomes unmistakable. What looks like overnight success is usually the result of years of aligned decisions. Decisions reveal priorities more accurately than words. What you consistently choose to do reflects what you truly value. When actions align with long-term vision, progress accelerates. When choices conflict with goals, stagnation follows. Fear often disguises itself as logic during decision-making. Waiting for perfect clarity can become a form of avoidance. Growth requires movement before certainty appears. Confidence is built through action, not contemplation. Powerful decisions are often uncomfortable because they challenge familiar patterns. Choosing growth over comfort requires courage. Yet discomfort signals expansion, not danger. Each courageous decision stretches capacity and increases self-belief. Decisions also influence identity. Every time you choose discipline over distraction or courage over convenience, you reinforce a stronger self-image. Identity evolves through action, shaping future decisions with greater confidence and clarity. Momentum is activated the moment a firm decision is made. Energy aligns, focus sharpens, and resources begin to appear. Hesitation drains momentum while commitment fuels it. Once direction is set, progress becomes easier to maintain. The quality of decisions improves with clarity of purpose. When vision is defined, choices become simpler, direction reduces confusion and eliminates unnecessary options. This focus allows energy to be applied where it matters most. Destiny is not something discovered, it is something constructed through consistent choice. The future forms around decisions made today, shaping circumstances, character, and outcomes through deliberate action repeated over time.